In today's video, we are going to learn how to make three-dimensional letters. They're also known as 3D letters, and you can either make them block style or bubble style. So a bubble style would be like the letter O's that we have up here, and then a block would be more where it has the straight lines like the M and N does right here. To start our three-dimensional letters, we'll need our supplies of a pencil, some type of markers, an eraser, and then a ruler. Or you could just have a straight edge. So like here, I just cut a piece of poster board so it's a little bit thicker for me to help have a sturdy area for when I'm drawing lines. So let's get started. So to start with, you need to plan your words out. So if I was to write the letter A, I'm going to write it lightly because I will be tracing over it later and then erasing this line. And I could do, let's do a lowercase here, and I will also write the word again here. And notice I'm writing them with spaces further apart than how we would normally write. So to do a bubble letter, you're just going to trace around it with only curves and then fill in the inside. It could be kind of a curved triangle, or you could keep it a circle. And with curves or also bubble letters, just think of them as they're like the balloon shapes, so they all have nice soft curves to them. And then for the block ones, you can either make them perfectly straight across when you're doing an A, or you can make it where it's a point like what a triangle would be. And these will have the straight lines. Some people, when you're doing blocks, say if it's an S, like where it's a perfect straight lines for the S, and some people then do add curves to them. So like the letter R, I could do this way for a block one. And then we have our vanishing point. And what I'm going to do right now is, this is why we used our pencil, is because you're going to erase that where you started with writing the word very lightly. Now it's time to make our letters that we have a three-dimensional letter. So this means that we're going to be giving it the sides. So now we can see it going towards the vanishing point. And I'm going to start with this one first because it's the little bit easier one that we have. So we are going to check all these corners, like when we did the shapes, check all the corners to see if you can draw a line to the vanishing point. Now I'm going to do this in pencil so I can erase things later. So line it up to the vanishing point, and if you can make a line, go ahead and draw a line. And then I would check here, and it looks like it's going to go through my letter's face, or the front of the letter, so I will not be drawing a line. I'm going to go down to the very edge, and I cannot draw a line because it's going to go through. Then I have one right here that is going to line up to the vanishing point. So when it starts going through my letter R right here, or the leg of these, I would not be drawing it anymore. So I'm just going to stop, and these would be considered the legs of the letter. So now here it's going through, here it's going through, here it's going through the face of the letter. Here I'm going to line it up and I can draw a little, and when it would start going through this one, I'm not going to draw it anymore. Onto the top of the letter, I'm going to check this point. So anytime a line changes direction, that's where I'm going to put my pencil to see if I can draw a line. And that one's very, very little, but I did have one. Then go over here, line that up, then travel back down here, and it looks like it's going to go through the face of the letter R, so I'm not going to draw it. Check this point, and it looks like it's a very, very tiny one that I do have right there. Then moving on, this would be going through the face, this is going through the face, and this actually lines up really nicely right there, so I'm not going to have one. Then on to the T, and I have all these little points that I need to check. can go over here. It looks like I could draw another one. And make sure it's always lined up to the vanishing point. And check right here. Let's see. Looks like I could do just a little bit. Then down right here, if I line it up, it looks like it's going through that part of the T, so that's a no. This is going through the letter T's face again. That's going through it, and it looks like I can make a line right here. Traveling up to here, it's going through. And then right here, it looks like I can make one again. And now I have that. What I'm gonna do is move on to this one before I start putting the parallel sides of everything. So if I'm looking at the vanishing point here, I'm gonna put my ruler on that vanishing point. And like when we did a circle, as you may recall in the other video, when you line it up, you go to the furthest outside edge and draw your line, and then you go again to the other furthest outside edge and draw your line. So that would be the start of, say, the letter O that we could just go ahead and do right here. So it's going to be the same when we have these curves. So think of if it's a straight edge, which is easier to do in a three-dimensional thing because you have your corners to look at. Just think of when the line's really changing a direction, so that's where you should put your ruler also. So start at the bottom of the A, and it looks like I can draw a line right there because that's the furthest outside bottom point. Now I'm going to keep going, and I'm checking here. So all this is going through the face of the letter. And then it looks like right there, if I line it up with the vanishing point, there's a little area right here I can draw a line now. And when it starts going through the letter R, I'm not going to draw it anymore. Now this is where I would be seeing the whole side of it, it looks like, but I'm gonna change directions and go back up. So I'm gonna put my ruler right here to see, and it looks like I can draw something. And then all this would be in the front of it. Then this would be where, oh look, I can draw a side later. Then line it up to our R here. Then I'll look up here, and all this is going through the face of it. Still through the face of it. And then if I come over to here, line it up, and it looks like, yep, that'd be at the very outside part. So I'm going to draw a line there. Then it looks like a whole bunch of lines could get here. So this is helping me see the side of it. If you need to sit there and make the little lines as you're going to help you see where the side of something is, there's nothing wrong with that. Now I'm back to this part, and it's getting covered, or it would be covering it up, so that's a no. But now I'm working to right here, it looks like I could draw one. So then it would be this part. On to the T, like this one, it has all the corners, but it's curved now, so I still need to check all those different directions that it's going to be hitting. So I'm going to start here, the furthest part at the bottom, and line it up to the vanishing point. And I have my line started there, and all this would be where I can put the letter, but I'm going to do ahead and put one right there, and it looks like I can keep going, and there's the very outside point right there. So I'm going to draw a line just so I have it as a reference. Then this is all on the face again, so it's nothing for this line right here. Now I'm going to check this. So this looks like I could be putting side, and here would be the very top of the T with a line right there. Then all this is through the face of it again, so nothing. I'm checking this is all going through the face, and then oh look, I could draw a line right there now. So now this would be that part that would get filled in. So one thing that I noticed on this one, I forgot to do the inside corner of it. There would be a line right there. Now we need to do the next step, which is put the parallel sides on our letters. So if it's a straight edge, like when we did our shapes, align the ruler up to the straight line. And what you're going to do is just do a finger space or like a pinky space so you know how far your letter needs to go out. And that would be our little stopping point. So I'm going to keep sliding it and draw my line right here. And now I have the start of the side of the letter. I'm going to do the pinky space again, so I have my mark to know when I need to stop. It was right here. Line it up, and then slide the ruler till I can make that line right there. And then this one's a tricky one because if I put my pinky there, the line would be all the way over here. So when I'm filling this in, this entire thing is going to get filled in. If I would do a very skinny side like this throughout the whole letter, then it would get filled in like this. But because I'm going for a wider side, at least the pinky thickness, then that would be making here, so this whole thing's going to get filled in. Then this one, pinky space, line the ruler up. For this letter, I'm going to do right here, and I'm just going to freehand it with the same curve that it has right here, and then I'm going to go straight until I get to this spot. So it's a little curve, go upwards, now it's curving, and now it's going to come up and around. So I'm just repeating that whole line that I made for the T right there. And then this part is what gets filled in, not this. So one thing people they just would do a whole part and mess this up just a little bit by putting it right there. So this part is correct, but if I'm seeing something here, I'm not gonna see it on the other side of the leg because the dot's going this way, so I'm only seeing things that would be close this way. So it's not this back side right here. So once you have this all drawn out in pencil, now you need to just trace your new lines that you made here with a Sharpie. And I just choose Sharpie because it's a permanent marker, so when I take my eraser to it, it won't be smearing later like a water-based marker does. But if that's all you have, just use that. And I'm just going to do a few others really fast that's a little bit trickier. So there you go. Now we have our three-dimensional letters and numbers. And with this, remember, first we drew very lightly our word that we wanted. And then we traced around it, either creating our bubble letters or with straight lines, our block letters. Or you could do a combo of those. You could even do even fancier ones if you wanted to do cursive writing or something with it. But you then have a 1 point, which is called your vanishing point, and from that we drew our lines using our ruler. And then we drew our parallel sides, which means it's the same angle and degree and curve, just repeated on the outside. And if you have a straight line, remember you can line it up and then just slide it with your ruler. And then once you have done that, we traced it with our Sharpie, erased all pencil lines, and then colored it in so we have our really cool 3D letters and numbers. And then if you did a background, say a black color, and because I used neon here, it would make them really pop out towards you. And you can change the width of how long you would want your letters to, but a good rule of thumb is usually just use your pinky space that you have, about a centimeter, 1/4 of an inch or so. And if you wanted them to really look like they're shooting from the vanishing point, then you would make them a little bit longer. You could space them throughout and also. So happy drawing with your 3D letters and numbers.